once again, folks. Welcome back to the October Horror-thon here on Andy Boy Comics and Toys. Now, the first movie I'm going to do this year features a horror icon. You may not think so unless you're an old guy like me, but this guy is a horror legend. I'm talking about Vincent Price, the Abominable Dr. Phibes. So the year's 1971. Now in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, you could not swing a dead cat without hitting Vincent Price. I mean, he was in all kinds of horror movies, some sci-fi as well, but mostly known for horror. This movie, The Abominable Dr. Phibes, is his 100th movie. His 100th film. And this is 1971. I think of this more as like a late 60s movie rather than an early 70s movie, just because it's got that weird-ass psychedelic vibe. It's got kind of a groovy 60s sound and soundtrack as well. I mean, the trailer and the opening credits and stuff would make you think that this is like a groovy 60s movie, baby. And I guess it kind of is. It's set in London, of course. And it's about a doctor who I'm not sure why he's called Doctor, because they don't really refer to him as Dr. Phibes in this movie, because he's a renowned organist. Sadly, his wife is killed in an auto accident, and there are, I believe, 10 physicians that attend to his wife to try and save her life. Also his life. They get in a car crash together. But sadly, they cannot save the life of his wife. And he basically fakes his own death to spend his remaining years exacting revenge upon the physicians who could not save his wife. Now, nowhere in here is it specified that he's a doctor. As a matter of fact, all of his victims are doctors, but I don't believe he's a doctor himself, so I don't know why the title. It just sounds cool, I guess. Anyway, Dr. Phibes uses some very unorthodox methods to stalk and kill his victims, basing all of his murders on like biblical plagues, all the plagues of Egypt that Moses brought down on the Pharaoh. Why? I don't know, but he does. One guy dies from like bee stings or something like that, so he dies of boils. So that's like the one plague of boils. Another plague of frogs. The guy goes to a party hosted by Dr. Phibes or something, or Dr. Phibes gives him a frog mask, which the guy puts on his head, and it constricts his airflow, and it like crushes his head and suffocates him, and he dies like that with this frog mask on. Another one at the very beginning was the plague of bats, I think, or plague of blood. No, that's a different one. But the plague of bats, actually a really ridiculous kind of scene, because these like giant fruit bats invade this guy's apartment. You know, they're the same bats that you saw in like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which we have since learned are actually not like vampire bats or anything, even though they're gigantic. They're vegetarians and they only eat fruit. That's why they're called fruit bats. Anyway, so this guy like wakes up and they're crawling all over him and in his room, and they apparently suck all the blood out of him and kill him. And I'm not sure they all really go along with these like biblical plagues, because some of them are weird as hell. Like one guy gets impaled by like a golden unicorn statue or something, and they have to like unscrew the guy's body from the wall that he gets impaled on, and that's kind of funny. Another guy that gets completely drained of all his blood, so the plague of blood turned turn the Nile to blood, something it's supposed to relate to that. Dr. Phibes, back in his lair, he has, of course, this big epic organ and stuff, and it's in this, like, I don't know, it's a very 60s, 70s looking mansion. You can imagine there's shag carpeting in most of the rooms, but in this main ballroom, he's got this big organ set up that he plays like a maniac, and plays all this epic gothic music. Then he gets off of the stage, because he puts it on a big stage, and he gets off of the stage, and then suddenly up rises this like robotic electronic band that plays like goofy swing tunes or something, or I don't know, jazz. I don't know. I think it's supposed to be set in like the 20s or something like that in London. Not so much the Victorian era, because there's a bunch of stuff that has to do with cars. Oh yeah, and Dr. Phibes, he wears a mask most of the time. Every once in a while he takes off the hood or robes that he's wearing. He still looks like Vincent Price, but he's got like a big scar on his neck, and apparently he can't speak. So I don't know how they accomplished this, but he like speaks through a hole in his neck or something like that. He holds something to his neck, and then suddenly you hear Vincent Price's voice coming out, but his face isn't moving at all. He's just like, and he's supposed to sound really menacing, but it just sounds really dumb, and he's just making like weird goofy expressions while he's cussing this guy out and telling him how he's gonna kill him and stuff, and threatening people. And it's a really dumb movie, and it's old, and it was made, well, I guess like 1970, 71, whatever. I don't know, there's a lot of weird imagery in there. Most of it is just kind of absurd, but he goes through all these like elaborate schemes to kill people. Oh, I forgot about the funniest one, where he drills a hole in the roof above where this like lady, like nurse, is sleeping, and then he drips in this like goo that goes all over her face while she's sleeping and doesn't even wake her up. And then he sets a bunch of locusts free, and they all go and they eat all this crap off of her face, and they chew her face right off until she's like just this white skeleton. And it's just fucking hilarious. And so yeah, he goes through these like 9 plagues or whatever, and he has these wax statues of each one of his intended victims, and he has like a personal amulet made for each one of them. After he kills them, he puts the amulet on the wax statue, and then he like burns it or melts it or whatever, and so it's like another one down, and he spends all this money and all this time and these elaborate things. It's like, if you really wanted revenge that badly, you could have done it in like a tenth of the time with way less expense. And then somehow, I'm not sure if he actually brings his wife back to life, reanimates her somehow, or if he creates an artificial woman and gives her life and makes her in the image of his dead wife. But she doesn't say anything, but she's there and helps him in his plot and all this. And I didn't really get this movie. I mean, it wasn't a bad movie. It was bizarre, and I was kind of entertained, just to see how strange this was. Like, this was almost like a Hammer movie. You've got that gothic kind of feel to it, mixed with the 60s psychedelic feel. So, that was interesting. Vincent Price, of course, he's creepy as fuck in everything that the guy ever did. But it's done a little more tongue-in-cheek here, I guess. Maybe it is played for laughs, but I was laughing a good bit here. I think overall I'd have to give the Abominable Dr. Phibes a B-. Yeah, I was entertained. I mean, it didn't scare the pants off me or nothing. It's not a perfect horror movie. If anything, it's more of just a goofy crime drama, because it's like full of all these like British detectives, and I swear to God, every second scene is these British detectives running around trying to figure out this plot, and meanwhile we as the audience know exactly what's going on, but just watching all these British detectives stumble through it all, and there's a whole lot of right, what's all this then, and jolly good, oh, I carry on there, and I mean, I don't mean to make fun of like British people or nothing, but it was almost like I was watching a semi-serious like Benny Hill sketch or Monty Python or something like that. It wasn't quite as absurd as something like that, but That's the vibe I got. I mean, it was entertaining because I had no idea what to expect. I hadn't seen a movie like this in a very long time. So yeah, I guess I was entertained enough to give it a B-. So I mean, it's not the best movie to start off the October Horror-thon with, since it's barely a horror movie. Even though there is a bit of gore, it's not a horror movie. I don't know, we're going to get to something a little bit more scary, a little bit more exciting this year. Stick around for the next installment of the October Horror-thon this year. And until then, stay spooky. And have a good one out there, everybody.